Hello, everybody. My name is Christian, CEO and founder of Shaw Capital. Today, I'm sitting down here with Drexel, head of client success over at Shaw Capital. And today, we're going to be welcoming you to the first ever episode of the Becoming Bankable podcast. So this podcast and this business really was born out of the curiosity to understand money. Okay, so what is it? How do we get more of it? And how do we get enough to take care of our family and loved ones? That's what the show is all about. Asking the right people, finance experts, accountants, bankers, and business owners, the hard-hitting questions so that we can play the game for more than just money. And in this episode, we're going to be covering and exposing the dirty secrets, the lies, the greed that is known as the business lending industry. We're going to be pulling back the curtains for you guys to show you guys all the tips and the schemes behind the business lending industry so that you don't get ripped off when you're trying to fund your business. So this is the podcast that the business loan brokers don't want you to know about. So I'll jump right into some questions. I have some questions prepared. I know everybody's time is very valuable for today. So Drexel, I just want to start off by defining some basic terms for everybody listening. What is a broker and what is a lender, and what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, good question. So hello, everyone. Again, my name is Drexel, head of client success here at Shaw Capital. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be on this podcast. So what is the difference between a broker and a lender? So to put it simply, a lender is the one that has the access to the money, right? So the lender has access. The broker is the one that is the connection between the lender and the actual merchant. So for example, you as the business owner. So Shaw Capital is a broker, right? So here you are, business owner. You are a restaurant owner. You're a construction company owner. You are whatever it is. Shaw Capital is in the middle, brokering your file out to the right lender to get you the best rates with the best terms and the highest possible approval.
Great. Thank you for defining that, Drex. Can you just tell a little bit about what's kind of like taking people back to our point of view. We've been in the industry since 2017, so a little over 6 years now. And we've been working with lenders as well as brokers. Can you tell everybody, what would the pros and cons of the industry be? What do you like about it? What you don't like about it? From your perspective?
Yeah. Having dealt with hundreds, if not thousands of files now, I can attest that, a couple of things that I love about the industry. We'll start with that. Alternative lending, especially with the economic environment that we're in right now, is taking off. We have business owners that do, $50,000 to $100,000 a month that go to their banks and are requesting sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. And banks are squeezing, what's the term here? Banks are just not getting them the approval that they're looking for, right? So this individual that's doing a $50,000 to $100,000 would probably get an approval for maybe 25, 50K, right? Because of the economic environment that we're in right now. And alternative lending is actually going on the up and up because merchants just like that are going to alternative sources to say, all right, I need to get my money together because I need to meet payroll. If you're a restaurant owner, my fridge just broke down. I need to get a new fridge and I need to get this thing replaced as soon as possible. But my bank is taking 3 months to process my application. I need money ASAP. So because of these reasons, alternative lending is a great place to be as a business, as a broker, but also as a merchant. Right, alternative lending is a great place to look at. So that's some of the positives. I'd say the negatives is, unfortunately, because of the plethora of funders out there, brokers and the barrier to entry is so low for brokers. There's a lot of brokers out there that will just say, okay, I can start a business loan brokerage tomorrow, right? And I can just call some people and ask if they want money. There's funders out there. I can just connect them. Right. And what happens is because the barrier to entry is so low, there are a lot of people that don't play, by the rules. So they will stretch the truth. They'll say things like, we are direct funders. Right. So I won't name any companies, but there are companies out there that will say they're direct funders. If you're watching this, you know who you are. And it's a slight twist to the word. They're not a lender. they are a funder,
Hmm.
right? They are a funder, but they are actually a broker, right? So they act like they're a direct funder. They say, I'm a direct funder. We can directly fund into your account, but they're actually not a lender, right? So you'd actually be, yeah, anyways, if you're doing business with a broker, you'd want to know you're doing business with a broker. You don't want someone lying to you saying that they are a direct funder.
Right. So
Instead of a lender.
if you hear anybody saying they're a direct funder and they're going to direct funds into your account, just know that they're actually a broker and they're trying to pull one over you.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the other thing too is like because of the stampede of business owners that are entering the space right now into alternative lending because they can't get the money that they need at their banks, there's a lot of leads, right? There's a lot of business owners that need money. And I've talked to business owner after business owner that says, man, the places that I've talked to after that I give them my application, they don't even talk to me anymore. They don't contact me. I can't contact anybody there. No one picks up. So usually like if someone's declined or someone is they won't even know, and they won't even know how they can be approved if they did get declined. Like, how can I be approved for an equipment loan if I did get declined? How can I be approved for a line of credit if I did get declined? Like, what do I need to change? They don't even know. So they just ghost, right? So those are what I'd say, like those are the two main things that I'm seeing in the industry right now that is not really fun, because we have the stigma as a broker that we need to break. We need to break that, right? We need to not lie to our customers. We need to tell them exactly why they didn't get approved, and if they get declined, why they got declined. I'm sorry, why they got approved and why they got declined.
And that's exactly why we're starting this. That's why we started this business. That's why we started this podcast, is to educate merchants and business owners on the snakiness that goes on in the industry, to try and bring back that integrity and workability into this industry so that you can know that who you're working with, you can actually trust, and they're not, straight out lying to you. So trust, relationships, that's what we're all about here at Shaw Capital. So let me ask you this, Drexel.
Yeah.
Do you need to work with a broker?
No, absolutely not. You don't need to. We're here to help you if you need our help, but you absolutely don't need to work with a broker. In fact, we'll give you a guide to go out and source funding yourself. But the challenge is knowing where to send your file. Right? We have 7 years of experience working with lenders and merchants to know that, okay, if you're a trucking company that has just a startup, we know where to send you, versus if you're a restaurant that has been in business for 5 years and has consistent revenues over the last couple of months, and you have your cash flow is great, your cash management is great. There's different types of scenarios, right? So you could definitely do it yourself. And my suggestion to you is, if you're new, like, go ahead, try it yourself, right? But if you want some help, we're here to help too.
Totally. So let's peel back the curtains a little bit. Let's show them exactly how they can do it themselves as a new business owner or as a growing business owner, how to access funds directly through working with direct lenders. And this is available for everybody. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this on podcast, just go to our website and you can download this free guide. Just put in your email and we'll send it over to you. But this is please, definitely. So
sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
This is the recession-proof funding guide. It works in any economy. But as you know, for right now, if you're strapped for cash and the banks aren't lending to you right now, this is a great place to go in the alternative lending space to get the capital that you need to fix a problem, pay for payroll, or just generally grow your business, expand your business. So it's a bit complex looking at it, and that's what we want to just break this down for you so you can easily understand this and be able to do this yourself if you want to do that. And this is what the brokers don't want you to see. This is really peeling back the curtains and showing you guys the secrets here. So
definitely something the brokers don't want you to see, but we thought that we would create this just to help you out so that you can go do it yourself, as Christian said. So let's start with the major question, right? So if you're looking for funding, the major question is, what will you be using this funding for, right? What would you be using this funding for? And the three main things that I see day in and day out, reviewing hundreds, if not thousands of files a month, is there's three main reasons. It's to either start a business, it's to either fund a current business, or it's to buy equipment, right? So we'll talk about all three, and I'm not going to go over the whole thing, But yeah, let's start with buying equipment. So if you want to buy equipment, the first question you need to ask yourself is, okay, how long have you been in business? Let's say you've been in business less than 2 years, so you're technically considered a startup. Do you have any assets that may be used for funding? If the answer is no to that, you need to go to the starting a business section, because your business is technically considered a startup.
Hmm.
Right? And it doesn't have any assets that may be used for funding. But if it does have assets to be used for funding, submit it to Paragon or Meritus, and they can get you asset-based financing. If you have been in business for 2+ years, you're not considered a startup, we can fund you based off of your credit score, or we can get a lender to fund you based off of your credit score. The first question they're going to ask you for equipment is, what's your credit score? This says 580 here, but it should say 680. So I know it says less than 580, 580 plus. It should say 680, 680 plus.
Yeah, we're
So
always updating this guide, by the way, guys. So it should say 680 now, now that you're watching this September 1st, 2023 and beyond. But yeah, this will be updated for you guys.
correct.
If you're watching now.
So if it's less than 680, we're going to fund your business without using your credit and without taking a hit to the credit. But if you have been in business for 2+ years and you have a 680 plus, submit it to Everlasting Capital, and they can help you out with getting your business funded with equipment.
So the question is, who is Everlasting Capital? When you say submit to Paragon and Meritus for asset-based financing, are they brokers or are they lenders?
Great question. So all of the lenders that we work with can lend in-house. So if your file is something that they like, remember I talked about earlier, like there's a specific area or there's a specific file that lenders like, right? So if the lender likes your file, they will fund it in-house, right? If you fall within their risk category. But if you're outside of their risk category, they can still fulfill your funding needs. They most likely will go outside for that, right? So again, they can fund direct and lend direct to you. Let me be clear, lend direct to you, right? But if they can't lend it directly to you, then they can go outside and fulfill your funding need as well. But yeah, good question.
Yeah, thank you for making that distinction there.
Of course. So yeah, so going back to buying equipment, right? So this is a perfect example. Let's say you're a construction company. You need really heavy machinery like an excavator or a bulldozer for your projects. And to avoid all the upfront costs and maintain cash flow, you opt in for an equipment loan, right? So this loan covers the equipment's full cost. It has a fixed interest rate. It's repaid monthly, in monthly installments, usually over several years. And the machinery itself, so that excavator or that bulldozer, will actually serve as collateral, allowing the company to expand, this construction company to expand its operations and build business credit while still managing their expenses without having a crazy overhead, if that makes sense. So that's an example of like who would be a good fit for an equipment loan. All right, so that's for equipment. The second most popular way that I get requested to get funding for a business is to fund a current business, right? So the question is, how long have you been in business? So this one, to fund a current business, it might not be a specific equipment need. It might be something like, I need to meet payroll, or something broke down that needs fixing, or I just need money to expand. I'm looking to buy a new location. I'm looking to hire new people, or just like a bridge loan, like working capital to just get you to your next accounts receivable that you're going to get. If that's the case, you're most likely going to be in the funding a current business section. And with that, the first question the banks are going to ask is, how long have you been in business? If it's less than 4 months, go to the starting a business section. If it's between 4 and 24 months, the next question they're going to ask is the amount you're requesting more than your monthly revenue? If the answer is yes, right? Do you have real estate to back that up? The answer is yes, go to real estate section. If the answer is no, submit it to ARF Financial. They will take care of you. If the amount you're requesting is not more than your monthly revenue and you need the funding fast, it should say MCA here. You should submit for a merchant cash advance. And a lot of the time there's a negative connotation to merchant cash advance. And my take on it is this, like, it's not going to be the first thing. If you come to us and say like, hey, we need money, that's not going to be the first thing that we're going to pitch you. But my suggestion is, take a look at the numbers, and if it makes sense over the terms, over the amount that you're getting, and the actual payment, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly for well-established files, if you can prove out a scenario where you can make more than the interest payment on it, a merchant cash advance is great, because you can get the funding literally next day into your business checking account. right?
Wow.
So I don't really like when people knock it. Like I've had situations where people really need cash and they get a merchant cash advance and it saves their business. It should say merchant cash advance here. So we'll do that. And then if you've been in business for over 24 months, same situation, you either submit for merchant cash advance or a term loan or a business line of credit or ARF financial if it's over 650. And then if you are requesting more than your monthly revenue, submit it for an SBA term loan or ARF financial or business line of credit with Idea Financial if it's over 680. Now, the last sort of funding source is when you need to start a business, right? So, or the funding request is when you need to start a business. First question banks are going to ask you, how much funding do you need? Okay, if it's between zero, if it's over 150, you're most likely going to need investors or venture capital. As far as I know, no one really out there is going to fund a startup based off of just like a business plan, no collateral, etc. It's usually that's with an investor or a venture capital that does that, right? But between 0 to 150, we have some options for you based off of your personal credit. And what we do here is if you have excellent credit, we can submit it to Toro. I don't know, national corporate credit should not be on here. You just submit it to Toro. If it's at 650, you submit it to 7 figures. If it's less than 650, you submit it for credit repair. And going through credit repair or getting a cosigner with 680 plus, if you have a credit score of less than 680, is honestly the only way that we have found to get you funding that you need for your startup, right? Other than that, you need to have good credit because that is the only collateral or the only thing that a bank can get you funding off of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense to me. Obviously, for the listeners listening in right now, if you're hearing this for the first time, this is probably a lot to take in. You're probably thinking like, wow, this is a lot, like drinking from a fire hose. That's why we created our company in the first place, to help you, to walk you through this process. As you can see, the stipulations and the criteria is constantly changing in this ever-changing landscape in this world of lending. So we're in communication with our lenders at all times to make sure that we're getting the most updated criteria and best practices to get your business funded. So if you have any questions about this, if you want to speak with me or Drexel on how to get your business the appropriate funding, just reach out to us. You can call us directly or just go to our website and fill in the contact form. But we'll be doing more and more content of it like this as we grow and expand and put out, and interview more industry leaders and lenders and different finance experts to bring you the education so that you can be well-informed, so that you can get the funding when you're ready or have the information and the knowledge to be able to access funding when you're ready. I know this was a lot of information. Obviously, it's hard to cover everything in one podcast session. So I'll conclude it here for today. Is there anything you want to say, Drexel, before we conclude for today?
Yeah, I mean, I just say we hope this funding guide helps. We put some work into this and yeah, give it a shot. Go out and try to get funding. We know how tough it can be, especially if you're a startup, to get the funding that you need for your business and your dreams, and how sometimes your file just get tossed around with multiple different people. And like, trust me, we understand the pains, right? We've been there, we've done that. If you want to do it yourself, go ahead. But if you want some help, we're here for you as well. Fill out a form. Let us help you.
Great. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for taking the time. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Becoming Bankable podcast. See you guys.